I've made a deck for each of the new Pokemon EX. Some are definitely stronger than others, but here's how I think each one could be played. Starting with Mega Abomin Snow. We have 4 Snover and 3 Abomin Snow, which has the Avalanche Hammer attack that discards the top 6 cards of your deck and does 100 damage for each basic water energy you discard. That's why you'll notice we have 30 water energy. Our other attacker for the deck is Kyogre with the Riptide attack. This attack does 20 damage for each basic water energy in your discard pile, then you shuffle them back into the deck. So the idea with the deck is to attack with Abomasnow, sending water energy to the discard pile, and then later in the game using that to fuel the Kyogre. And then that'll refuel the Abomasnow to be able to attack bigger late in the game again. We have 2 Latios EX rounding out the basics to help with the retreat problem, so if we start the Kyogre we can easily retreat into the Snover. It won't allow us to retreat once we evolve, but that's alright, we'll be attacking with this as long as we can anyways. We have 4 Research, 4 Arven, and 3 Explorer's Guidance to turbo through the deck. Arven can find Trolley and Turbo Energize to set up a full board, and then Energize will help us get 2 water energy into play, just so we can get closer to getting that 2 water energy requirement on the Abomasnow. This is not really a competitive deck, it's just fun to turbo through the deck and hit big numbers with these 2 attackers. Moving on to Mega Absol. You'll probably recognize this deck as Marnie's Grimmsnarl with Monkey Dory. I think this is about the only place right now where the Absol really can slot in. Its attack, if your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 6 damage counters, it's knocked out. This hasn't been a very good attack in the past, but I believe with Monkey Dory and Frostlass we can move the damage around, and this can allow Grimmsnarl to be able to take big knockouts on pretty much any Pokemon that we want. Other than that, we do have 2 energy switch in the deck, which allows us to charge up the Absol in 1 turn by moving energy from Grimmsnarl or anywhere. This also let us, use Monkey Dory a little more than usual. This deck's also taking advantage of Lily's Determination that'll be coming out in the same set. Instead of the normal Professor's Research, this will allow us to draw 8 cards more often and without having to discard resources like the Absol that we'll want later in the game. Alright, moving on to Mega Camarupt. This is one of the worst ones, but we do have the Numel, which has this Call for Family attack, which will help a little bit. But the idea, we have the Mega Camarupt Roasting Heat 80 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon is burned, this attack does 160 more damage. We're using the Volcanion EX, which has the Scalding Steam attack. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burned. So this will allow the Camarupt to hit 240, plus the burn will make it 260. We have Latios for free retreat, and then we're using Surfer, which switches your active and draws 5 cards. We have 4 switch. We have the Air Balloon plus the Beach Court to be able to retreat the Volcanion since it has 3 retreat costs. After the first attack, you're going to need 2 switches per turn to get the Volcanion back into the active and then get the Camarupt back to the active. So that's why we're playing so much switch. It's not, once again, not a very competitive deck, but it's a lot of fun. We have the Ignition energy that can be attached to the Camarupt to be able to hit 280 if we're not able to get to the burn. We have Rigid Band to be able to tank hits. We have 4 bosses orders so we can really target down big 2 prizers as much as possible. Poffin won't work in this deck as the Numel has 80 HP, so we're using Nest Ball. That helps with Volcanion also. We can find our Fez when we need it. We have the Blood Moon Ursaluna just as a backup attacker at the end of the game. Moving on. Mega Gardavore. Here, a big thing that goes along with the Mega Gardavore is we're getting a better Ralts that has the Collect attack and 100 HP Curlia that has the Call Sign attack. Search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. These are pretty good upgrades compared to what we currently have. Other than that, Mega Gardevoir essentially could see play over the Drifloon, with its Overflowing Wishes attack not being too relevant, but its second attack 50 times. This attack does 50 damage for each Psychic energy attached to all of your Pokemon. That's why you'll see we have 10 energy in the deck versus the normal 7 to 8 energy that we see. It's just kind of a big game ender. With the 10 energy, we can do up to 500 damage. We usually probably be doing, the 3 to 350, similar to the Drifloon, just we'll have a bigger HP Pokemon in play, and we don't have to play as many Bravery Charm for that. We're still playing one Bravery Charm, which can line up some plays with the Scream Tail. Since we bumped up to 10 energy, we're playing a little less on the Monkey Dory engine. Other than that, the deck's mostly the same. You still want to play Research because Lily's Determination doesn't discard, and we want to discard some energy in this deck. Now we have Mega Kangaskhan, which is not very good. Just with the Air and Dash ability, you may use this ability once during your turn. If this Pokemon is in the active, draw 2 cards. You can only use one Air and Dash ability per turn. So this doesn't allow for abuse with multiple copies, so you'll just see one copy in this deck. And it's Barrage combo attack, does 200 damage, and then you flip a coin for the rest of the damage. So not the best, but we're using it in this big basic deck where we have the Roaring Moon and the Pecharunt. So the idea is that we can use the Latios to free retreat into this, draw 2 cards, and then the Pecharunt can move the Roaring Moon back to the active if we would like to attack that turn. So it's just going to give us some more draw power in decks like this. Any turbo deck could try to implement something similar to this. Now let's take a look at Mega Latios EX. We're using it right here for the Mirage Impulse attack, which is for a fire, psychic, and a colorless, discard all energy, but does 300 damage. We're just slotting it into Dragapult since it already plays the fire and psychic energy. We've added Crispin to be able to get the energy in play more often. Then the Latios, if you don't know, has the Luster Assist ability. Once during your turn, when your Mega Latios moves from the bench to the active, you may move any amount of energy attached to your bench Pokemon to the active. So this is what allows you to maybe retreat something like the Dragapult, get into the Latios, and get the energy on it to be able to take a big knockout at the end of the game. This is pretty fun, and instead of playing Hilda, I'm sticking with Brock Scouting because this allows you to find both copies of these at the end of the game to be able to take that big knockout. We're still playing the Blood Moon because it is possible to take a mid-game knockout with the Latios, and if it gets knocked out, you're going to be really low on prizes. Or your opponent will be low on prizes, so then the Ursaluna can help you finish out that game. Pretty boring overall with Dragapult, but this does seem to be the best use case for this Latios at the moment. Now we actually have another one that's its own deck. We have the Mega Lucario with the Aura Jab attack for 130. Attach up to 3 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. Then its Mega Brave attack does 270, but you can't attack the following turn. This is just for 2 fighting, so a pretty good attack. We have the Drillbur that allows you to discard up to 3 fighting energy from the deck when you bench it from your hand. This doesn't work with Nest Ball, so luckily Pokemon did give us Fighting Gong, which searches your deck for a basic fighting Pokemon or fighting energy and puts it into your hand. This is a pretty versatile card because we have this Lunatone draw engine, which needs you to discard a basic fighting energy, so this can either search the Drillbur, get any of our other basics, or get the fighting energy we need to draw, or just attach for turn. And this is also nice because Poffin's not that good in the deck because of Makuhita having more than 80 HP or 70 HP. Riolu does have a 70 HP one, but we're just going to play this 80 HP one since it's better and we're not playing Poffin anyways. The Hariyama has a Gust ability when it evolves, so that's why we're not playing much Boss. We do have the 1 Boss and 1 Counter Catcher to make up for that. And then we have Premium Power Pro here, which your active fighting Pokemon does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's going to help that Lucario hit even bigger numbers. So with 2 of these, we could hit up to 330 with the Lucario. Another thing with the Hariyama is its attack does 210 and can work with the reversal energy if we're behind on prizes. We have 2 Air Balloon as everything has high retreat costs, making it a little bit hard to get mobile. We have the 1 Switch. Trolley is the A spec since everything's big and we just want to get it all out. We want to get a couple Makuhitas and Hariyama, and then the draw engine. Lunatone requires the Soul Rock to be in play, so that takes up some bench space. The Soul Rock doing 70 damage for 1 as long as you have the Lunatone makes it a good little early game attacker that can knock out things like Dreepy or Ralts. I think this will be a pretty fun deck. Then we have Mega Manectric. I put this in Miraidon, which is probably not too surprising. We have the Zekrom from Black Bolt that does 50 more damage for each prize card your opponent's taken, so that's another big hitter. But then the Manectric, its second attack for 3 lightning does 200, and you can discard the energy to make it do 330, so another big hitter, has free retreat. The Magneton engine's still in here, but I could see the Dynamo Dino Motor Engine being played instead, especially with the Psyduck coming out, which will shut this down at the same time Manectric releases. Another option could be playing the Joltik version, but I like the generator since this one has all lightning attack requirement, and the Joltik's going to get lightning and grass into play. Now we have Mega Mawile, which putting it in Archaludon as a big game ender because this greedily devour attack does 80 damage for each prize card you've already taken. So once you've taken 4 prize cards, you can do 320 with this, which is knocking out pretty much everything in the meta right now. Maybe we see Charizard seeing a little bit of play, but the Munkidori can clean up that damage also if we need to. Other than that, it's a pretty standard Archaludon list, just adding the Mawile. I don't think Genesect EX is worth playing in this deck, as you don't want to put a 2-prizer liability in play that you don't have to. Fez is way more valuable. Squawkabilly in the early game can lead to a lot more, but the Genesect justifying Archaludon when we already want to play our Ultra Balls to discard energy anyways, I just don't think it's worth it. We have the Venture Bomb in here, which helps with damage, and the Munkidori can, also abuse it if you do flip tails. Moving on to the last one, we have Mega Venusaur. I'm pairing it with Yanmega, which has the Buzzing Boost ability. When it moves to the active, you can attach 3 grass energy from your deck to it. And its Jet Cyclone attack moves 3 grass energy, 3 of any energy from it to one of your bench Pokemon. That's where the Solar Transfer attack is going to come in on this Mega Venusaur. As often as you like during your turn, move basic grass energy to one of your other Pokemon. So this is going to allow you to take advantage of the Yanmega to keep your energy in a safe place on this 380 guy. You can move the energy somewhere else, but I like to keep it on the Venusaur. And then on your next turn, you don't have to rely as much on getting back into another Yanmega to attack. You can just move the energy back. Or you can take advantage of some of these other attackers. We have the Regigigas that has the Jewel Breaker attack for 100 damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Terra, do 230 more. So this is 330 against things like Dragapult or Charizard EX. We have the Fezandipity that can do 100 to any Pokemon, so this you can trap your opponent sometimes and just take away their bench Pokemon one at a time. It's pretty fun. Then we have the Mew EX with the Genome Hacking attack. This is, going to depend on matchups, but pretty powerful attack. And then we have the Iron Hands with the Amp You Very Much. We're playing the 1 Lightning energy to be able to use this. Before the Venusaur, you could move the energy to the Iron Hands, but you would risk your opponent just targeting it down. So now you can just move it to the Iron Hands whenever you actually need the Iron Hands. We have the 1 energy switch to go with Arven and TM Evo, which also helps us find the Lightning if we need it at a specific time. And we're using the Pidgeot since we're already going to play 1 rare candy, 1 or 2 rare candy to be able to get into the Venusaur, Pidgeot, search exactly what we need when we need it. Another huge inclusion for this deck, Vitality Forest. Each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into grass Pokemon on the turn they're put into play except for that player's first turn. We're just playing the 1 copy to find off Pidgeot when we need it. There's not a ton of ways to really abuse this card right now, but the big thing is, before if our opponent took out our only Yanma, we'd be in a lot of trouble, but with this, we can just bench a Yanma straight into Yanmega. We can also go from Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, all the way to Venusaur in the same turn, so that's why we're playing 2 Jacks here, just to find so many evolution Pokemon between the Yanmega. We can get the Pidgeot off of this, or use the Pidgeot to find it and get into our grass evolutions. Solid deck all around, using Prime Catcher. Yanmega's so powerful when you can just move around as much as you want. Have 3 balls, Counter Catcher as our Gust. The damage output being pretty low in the deck, you really want to be able to target down exactly where you want to put the damage, so that's why the Gust is so important in this deck.